Hey everybody, it's Andy aka Max Writer. We are back with another author showcase. This is my 9th, I believe, and we are looking at today The Secret of Silcestre. So this one should be coming out May 1st. And I've just printed it out. The printout looks actually pretty good, I think, but we're going to take another look through it right now. So this is a Cthulhu Dark Ages scenario released on DriveThruRPG through the Miskatonic Repository. And there'll be a link in the description below where you can find it, where you can pick it up if you have an interest. It is only coming out as a PDF. I don't have the means or resources to actually release print-on-demand stuff. And yeah, so there we go. So that's where we're standing right now. So this is The Secret of Silcestre. Here's your cover page. On the back, whoops, I skipped a page. You got some of my other scenarios here. Here's the actual complete, here's the picture from Dance of Death by Hans Holbein the Younger. We've got our cover page here, legal information at the bottom, a couple quotes, H.P. Lovecraft, here's my playtesters. Here's our table of contents next. And then we're on to a foreword, wherein I talk about the actual location that I chose for this for the scenario and some real-life facts about it. Then we're into, on page 7, The Secret of Silcestre. Or, Let's See Sleeping Dwarves Lie. Yeah, okay. It's not super clever, but it is what it is. We've got a brief introduction with information on the basics of the scenario. Your keeper information has got pretty much all the background of what's happening and not everything that's happened before, but enough of it to a little synopsis. Player information talks about how the players get involved, and then there are actually several different ways that players can get involved in this one. It takes place in Silchester, which is in Hampshire, in southern England, central southern England. You've got adapting the scenario. There's only a little bit on that. It'd be tough to adapt the scenario for guys. Little interruption there because of the dogs. It would be tough to adapt the scenario for Jazz Age or modern, but it is possible. There's a little bit about dwarves and folklore, what the investigators might know. And then we're on to the locale, which is the village of Silchester. We've got its history here and the future of the village, which is what happens after 1002 AD when this takes place. I forgot to say spoilers, but it'll be in the description below. Then there's the secret history of the village, and this takes up quite a bit of space. We've also got Silchester locations. The few little locations that are marked on the map are here and down here. The village of Blasingstoke is only a few miles away, so I wrote a little bit about that. The village of Reading is 9 miles away and is pretty much the largest village in this area, so I wanted some information about that, even though there's a good chance that neither one of these will come into play in the game. And then the scenario itself starts on page 13. Arrival at Silchester, some of the first impressions that they receive. If the player characters are following the Presidiae Finium, which is a Frontier Garrison, which is a Cthulhu Mythos tome that's mentioned in Dark Ages. Here's some of the information that you might actually have available if you do a successful library use and check on that. Then you've got, so this I thought this was kind of neat. The main reason I did this was just how it ended up laying out, but after you have been in Silchester for a short period of time, someone might try to contact you, the Reeve of the village. All the information on the Reeve is laid out so it lays open like this. If you print them out like this and maybe put it in a binder or whatever, you've got everything that happens with the Reeve, his house, the way the dogs act, the information that he might give you, and what his true designs are. And then another person of interest in the town is the Acolyte. Again, it's 2 pages. You've got meeting the Acolyte, what he knows, what he can help you with this lost villa that's being pursued. Then there's sounds from underground and what eventually potentially happens to him if the keeper so desires. Next you have the dwarves of Silchester, what they want, how they're presented, or how they present themselves, and possibly if the investigators follow them outside, which is a bad idea, but players are what they are. What might happen there. Finally, we have the sinister Danes. There are a group of Danes in the village. They're kind of a wild card. They can be used by the keeper to either aid or hinder the investigation, depending on how it's going. So you've got introducing the Danes and using the Danes, and then what their backstory is, why they're here. Now on page 21, then we're into Search for the Lost Villa. By this point, Well, my players actually went into this immediately instead of getting the information they needed. But at this point, to actually find the Lost Villa, you've got your 3 pieces of information that you should have, some notes on that. If you're missing the clues, if the player characters can't find the right clues or people end up dead or whatever, then there is an alternative to finding the Lost Villa. Forest and Field describes kind of the area where the Lost Villa lies. The old walls, got a little talk on that. Some of the other diggings. Then on page 23, when they actually find the spot, how they deal with it, how they dig it up, that kind of thing. Something below goes into more details on that, how long it actually is going to take to dig this out. And then we've got the lost cellars and the casting room, which are the main rooms. Then some ideas on what happens once they get down there, what is still down there, what horror is still remains down in the cellars. The alcove is part of the cellars, it's part of the casting room, it's just off the casting room. Other rooms is kind of compiled like this because there's nothing much of real interest. This isn't a dungeon crawl. You go down, deal with your stuff, and I glossed over the whole rest of let's explore the rest of, everything else down here. 2 hours later, nothing of real interest. What the actual treasure is, and then a denouement, what happens to the players, to everybody at the end. You got your sanity rewards, the playtest notes for this one. This was a 2-session game for us, so my playtest notes were kind of long, so all the details there on how our game went. Then you've got non-player character stats. I didn't use Dramatis Personae in this one, just because the way it was laid out, it didn't feel like it would work very well. So all the information on the NPCs, the important ones, is here, including the Reeve, the Acolyte, the Danes, some typical villagers, a typical horse, which you could also use for oxen if you need to, and the demon that might show up, as well as the dwarves. There's a boxed little box here that has one of the magic items that they use, and then we're into the maps. So we've got Silcestre, that's the basic village. Here's a larger view that actually shows Kaliva with Silcestre down here. And then we've got a map that actually shows the entire area and everything is marked. So for this one, so you could give your characters, you could give your players, you could actually just give them this map. Here you go, here's where you are. You came from this way, whichever. You could also give them this map once they've explored the whole area. And then this one's for the keeper, it gives some more information. The same with the Reeves house. There's the Reeves house, blank. And then you've got the Reeves house, looking at it from the keeper's point of view. And then we've also got the cellars under the Lost Villa. I hope I'm not holding these up too high. The cellars under the Lost Villa. This one's blank. Here's what you see when you come down into the cellars. And then, of course, you've got your keeper map where everything's kind of listed as what is where. We've got pictures of all of our major NPCs, pictures of the investigators, a list here. This is actually not a list, sorry. This gives some background information on the investigators, what they know about each other, who they are, what has potentially gone before. And then finally, we've got our pre-gens. We've got Brother Drake, the monk, Bertnoth the smith, who is a smith, Elif Adilson, a woodsman, and a Dane, essentially, and Bjorn, a free warrior, who's also a Dane. And finally, we've got your back page, a little information on the back cover about the author, and then, of course, the back page of The Secret of Silcestre. And that's it. This isn't real long, but it's not going to be real expensive either. I mean, there's quite a bit of good information here, and I tried to blend the real with the story to make it interesting, I hope, for people to run this game. So there it is. There's The Secret of Silcestre. Everybody, hope you got a good look at it. If you have an interest in buying, again, there'll be a link in the description below. This is at DriveThruRPG through Miskatonic Repository, and it is by Andy Miller, which is hard to read down there, but you can read the title, and that's what matters most. So that's it. There's The Secret of Silcestre. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, I appreciate it, and I will talk to y'all next time.